This is the Focus Shift podcast, your best listening experience for creating your best online business. We'll focus on topics that help you get discovered. So sit back, listen, take notes if you like, and get excited about growing your business.
So I want you to imagine for a second that you are opening up a brand new, just beautifully designed physical storefront.
Nice, like a high-end boutique or something.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the perfect lighting, the window displays are completely immaculate, and, your services are absolutely top-notch.
Sounds like a dream setup.
Right. But there is this massive, incredibly frustrating problem. The city keeps actively changing the road signs that lead to your street.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
It is, because sometimes your street is treated like a main highway, right?
Yeah.
Tons of traffic. And then sometimes it's just this hidden alleyway that absolutely no one can find.
And that right there is exactly what local search engine optimization, or SEO, feels like today.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive today is to figure out how to force those shifting roads to lead right to your door.
I love that.
Yeah, we're going to decode exactly why blogging is, frankly, an absolute non-negotiable strategy for local businesses in the year 2026. And crucially, how highly specialized artificial intelligence is completely removing the friction from that whole process.
Which is huge. And we are pulling all of this from an incredibly timely piece of source material published literally today, March 20, 2026.
Yeah, fresh off the press.
From the PhotoBiz Growth Hub. It's titled Blogging for SEO with help from PhotoBiz AI. And I gotta say, it is a phenomenal read.
It really is.
Because it sits right at this intersection of timeless marketing strategy and cutting-edge, highly specific technology. We're looking at a tool built specifically for an industry rather than just, a generic chatbot.
Right. And if you are listening to this right now and you're a creative professional, say, like a photographer, you know exactly how desperate it feels to get your services noticed in a saturated market.
Oh, absolutely. The burnout is real.
Or maybe you're just fascinated by how AI is finally being tailored to solve very specific niche problems instead of just general knowledge. Either way, we are going to show you how targeted, consistent content translates directly into real-world business growth without leading to that dreaded information overload.
Because nobody has time for that.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the current reality of SEO. Because you look at the data coming out of places like HubSpot or Search Engine Land recently, they are all sounding the exact same alarm.
And what's that?
That the old game is completely dead.
It fundamentally is. I mean, if we go back a decade or so, SEO was largely treated like a static mathematical game, like a system to be gamed.
Just keyword stuffing, basically.
Exactly, entirely keyword stuffing.
Yeah.
If you wanted to rank for wedding photographer, you just cram that specific phrase into your homepage 50 times.
Sometimes hiding it in invisible white text on a white background. I remember that.
Yes. People actually did that. And the search engine algorithms would just blindly reward you with traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But search engines are no longer simple calculators, They are dynamic, completely user-focused ecosystems.
Right, and the source material brings up this acronym that is apparently the new gold standard for search engines now, EEAT, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Yep, the famous EEAT.
But wait, let me stop you right there because I have to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
How does a mathematical algorithm actually measure something like trust? I mean, it's a machine. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have intuition. So how is it calculating human trustworthiness?
That is the million-dollar question right there.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to behavioral signals.
Okay.
Like, you're right, a machine can't feel trust. But it can measure how humans who do feel trust behave on a website.
Ah, I see.
Search engines are constantly analyzing these metrics, things like dwell time, which is how long a user stays on your page, and bounce rate, which is how quickly they just hit the back button and leave.
So it's watching what we do, not what we say.
Exactly. If someone searches for best locations for senior portraits, and they click your blog post, read the entire thing, maybe click through to your portfolio, and linger on your images.
The algorithm sees that.
It logs that as a massive signal of trust and expertise. The machine essentially says, okay, this human found exactly what they were looking for, so this author must be a trusted expert.
Wow, okay, that makes total sense. They are basically reverse engineering human trust based on our digital body language.
That's a great way to put it.
And the source notes that this shift toward EEAT has actually changed what kinds of pages search engines prefer to show. Like, they are heavily featuring these rich content blocks now.
Right, the zero-click features.
Yeah, things like quick snippets, FAQ dropdowns, local map blocks, all right there on the primary search results page. And the article says these features strongly favor highly detailed blog posts over just a standard static homepage.
Which makes sense when you think about the intent behind a search.
How so?
Well, a static homepage usually just says, here's who I am, here are my prices, and here's what I do.
Which is pretty self-serving.
Exactly. But a rich, detailed blog post actually answers a highly specific question a user has before they are even really ready to buy. Search engines want to provide answers, so they pull that rich information and display it prominently.
But wait, isn't there a huge risk here for the business owner?
You mean giving it away for free?
Yeah. If search engines are just scraping my detailed blog posts to create these little FAQ snippets right on the search results page, doesn't that actually hurt my business?
It feels like it would, right?
Yeah, I mean, if the user gets their answer directly from Google without ever actually clicking the link to visit my website, I've just given away my knowledge for free and got zero traffic for it. Why should a local business spend hours writing a blog if the user isn't even going to click through?
What's fascinating here is that we have to look at the psychology of the buyer journey, not just the raw click data.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yes, a user might get a quick answer without clicking. That's often called a zero-click search. But being the chosen source of that snippet builds just unparalleled authority.
Oh.
It heavily satisfies the A and the T in EEAT. For high-intent, local searches, trust is the ultimate currency.
Give me an example of how that plays out.
Sure. Imagine a bride searching for, does the local botanical garden allow wedding photography?
Very specific.
Right. She isn't searching for a photographer yet. She's literally just figuring out her venue. If your blog is the featured snippet answering that exact question, you are now anchored in her mind as an authority.
You're the helpful expert.
Exactly. When she is ready to book a photographer a few weeks later, she's going to remember the expert who already helped her out.
Oh, wow.
And furthermore, the search engine treats your site as a hub of relevant activity, which actually lifts your entire website higher in the rankings for those direct hire a photographer keywords.
So it lifts the whole boat.
Yes.
You are basically proving your competence before the sales pitch even happens.
You're building the relationship before they even know they need you.
Okay, so if the ROI on these rich, authoritative blog posts is so incredibly high and it establishes all this trust, why isn't every single local business doing this every single day? Like, what is the catch here?
Well, the catch is the human element.
Time.
Time and energy. They are the ultimate bottlenecks. The source uses photographers as its primary example, and I think it perfectly illustrates the friction between knowing what you should do for marketing and the exhausting reality of actually running a service-based business.
Right, because photographers aren't ignorant about what their clients want.
Not at all.
The article points out that they already know clients use these highly specific long-tail phrases. And actually, wait, let's define that quickly for the listener.
Good idea.
So a short-tail keyword is broad, right? Like just the word photographer, almost impossible to rank for.
Yeah, you're competing with the whole internet.
Exactly. But a long-tail phrase is highly specific, like what to wear for fall mini sessions in downtown Raleigh. Photographers know these are the golden search terms that bring in the paying clients.
The knowledge is absolutely there.
Yeah.
But the execution is the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the physical day-to-day life of a working creative. They are out on location shooting sessions.
Sweating, carrying gear.
Right. Then they are spending hours sitting behind a monitor, meticulously editing hundreds of photos. They are managing inquiries, sending invoices, handling client care, driving to locations.
That's a lot.
Where in that packed schedule are they supposed to find the 4 to 5 uninterrupted hours required to brainstorm, draft, edit, format, and technically optimize a structured blog post?
It's a massive ask. It really is. And the source has this very direct, undeniable quote in it. Consistent blogging beats random blogging every time.
Which is so true, but so hard.
I was thinking about this, and it's like going to the gym for 6 hours on one random Tuesday and expecting to be ready to run a marathon on Saturday.
Well, that's perfect. Yes.
It's not about the massive burst of panicked effort, It's about the compounding effect of simply showing up week after week.
That is a very accurate analogy.
Yeah.
Because the search engine algorithms are essentially looking for a pulse.
A pulse, yeah.
When you just blog once in a blue moon your 6 hours, on a random Tuesday. The search engine might crawl your site, notice the update, and give you a tiny little bump. But it doesn't establish that crucial pattern of consistent authoritativeness.
The article points out a specific mechanical reason for this too, right? It says that fresh content actively attracts search engine attention because every single post creates a new indexed page.
Yes.
Can we break down what is actually happening behind the scenes there? Like, when the source says crawled and indexed, what is the machine actually doing?
Sure. Let's visualize the internet as the world's largest, most chaotic library.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The search engine is the librarian, and the crawler is essentially the librarian's robotic assistant that constantly runs through the aisles, scanning the text of every new book that gets added to the shelves.
Just looking for new stuff.
Right. When you publish a new blog post, the crawler reads it to understand what it's about. If it deems the content valuable and legible, it indexes it, meaning the librarian officially adds your book to the library's master catalog.
So every time I publish a highly specific blog post, I'm handing the librarian a brand new book to put in the catalog.
Exactly. Or, to use a slightly different metric, you are giving yourself a new lotto ticket.
I like the sound of that.
Right. Every index page is a new opportunity to rank for a unique search query. Over time, you aren't just relying on your homepage to catch all the traffic. You are casting a vast, wide net of index pages out into the digital ocean. And those pages generate backlinks.
Which are what exactly? Let's clarify that.
A backlink is simply when another website links to your page. Think of it as a vote of confidence or like an academic citation.
Okay.
If a local wedding venue links to your blog post about top 10 Asheville wedding spots, the search engine sees that link as a massive endorsement of your expertise. That is how you drive conversions over the long haul.
But see, this just brings us right back to that exhausting roadblock we were talking about.
The time issue.
Right. If consistency is the ultimate bottleneck, and human beings running small businesses simply do not have the time to sit down and weave this giant net of indexed pages and earn these backlinks, what gives? We need a bridge here.
We absolutely do.
And this leads us directly to how artificial intelligence is evolving in 2026, because the source introduces a very specific tool designed for this exact friction point, which is PhotoBiz AI.
And this represents a major shift in digital tools. For years, we've had generic AI chatbots. You ask it to write a marketing email, and it spits out something very robotic and broad.
Very vanilla.
Yes. But PhotoBiz AI is described as an industry-specific solution built specifically for photographers. It understands the nuances of a creative service business.
It's combining website creation, SEO optimization, and content generation all into one hub. And the first major feature it tackles is the exact thing that stops most people before they even start, which is the blank page syndrome.
Oh, that is the worst.
The pure paralysis of sitting at a desk and having absolutely no idea what to actually write about.
Staring at the blinking cursor.
Exactly. The source explains that PhotoBiz AI actually generates SEO-relevant topic ideas for you. But how does it do that? Is it just throwing darts at a board?
No. It's actually analyzing search volume and identifying local intent gaps.
Intent gaps?
Yeah, it's essentially looking at what people in your specific geographic area are searching for and where the current answers on the internet are weak or missing.
Oh, that's clever.
So instead of suggesting a generic, useless topic like wedding photography tips, which is already covered by a million other websites.
Right, you'd never rank for that.
Exactly. Instead of that, it suggests highly localized seasonal topics. The example the article provides is top 10 wedding photo spots in Asheville this spring.
That is incredibly targeted.
And that specificity is where the money is. It perfectly matches a user's high-intent search. A person searching for that phrase is actively planning an Asheville wedding right now.
They have their wallet out.
Pretty much. The AI does the heavy analytical lifting of figuring out that strategic angle, which completely bypasses the blank page paralysis.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because once you have the topic, the AI takes the second massive step. It actually drafts the search engine-friendly content.
It writes it for you.
Yeah, it writes the post with natural keyword integration, it creates clear headings, an engaging intro, and it structures the sections so they perfectly match what that digital librarian wants to see.
Which saves hours of work.
It does. It's kind of like having a specialized studio assistant who sets up all the lighting and handles all the paperwork so you can just step in behind the lens.
Yeah.
But my immediate concern, and I know anyone listening has this exact same thought, is the robot factor.
The dreaded robot voice.
Exactly. If everyone starts using AI to write their blogs, doesn't the internet just become a massive, boring sea of identical, soulless content? How do we ensure this doesn't just read like a machine wrote it?
That is the most critical vulnerability of AI-generated content. And honestly, if you just copy-paste what the machine outputs, you will fail the EAT test.
Because you lack the experience.
Yes, because you lack the experience. But the source material addresses this directly through its designed methodology. The tool is explicitly not designed to replace the human.
Okay.
It is designed to provide the optimized outline and the structural draft. The user is instructed within the workflow to expand with your personal insights and images.
Ah, okay. So the AI is building the skeleton, but you have to put the meat on the bones.
Precisely. The AI handles the algorithmic appeasement. It knows exactly where the H2 heading should go. It weaves the location-specific keywords naturally so it doesn't look like keyword stuffing. And it handles the formatting.
The boring stuff.
The really boring stuff.
Yeah.
But an AI doesn't know what the golden hour lighting actually looked like bouncing off the brick at that specific Asheville venue. An AI didn't hike through the mud with 30 pounds of camera gear to get the perfect sunset shot. Only the human photographer has those personal, lived anecdotes. When you plug your real human experience and your proprietary visual art into the AI's perfectly optimized structure, you get the absolute best of both worlds.
You are marrying the machine's technical fluency with the human's authentic art.
Exactly.
I love that. And speaking of technical fluency, that perfectly transitions us into the hidden invisible elements of SEO that this tool handles, which is the metadata.
Oh, metadata. That is usually the exact moment where creative professionals completely check out.
Oh, 100%.
Because it just feels too much like coding.
It's the guesswork. You sit there staring at a little box wondering, did I format this meta description right? Is it too long? Will Google cut it off? Are the keywords in the right spot?
It's paralyzing.
It really is. The source talks about how PhotoBiz AI just generates the optimized meta titles, descriptions, and keyword tags based on the prompts. It removes hours of technical anxiety. But let's demystify this for the listener real quick. What actually is metadata, and why does the crawler care about it so much?
Well, let's go back to our library analogy.
Okay, the big library.
If the blog post is a new book, the metadata is the barcode and the Dewey Decimal sticker on the spine. It is the underlying communication layer between your website and the trawler.
Okay, so it's how they talk to each other.
Right. When that digital robotic librarian arrives at your new page, it doesn't read the whole book immediately. It scans the meta title and the meta description first to instantly categorize what this page is even about.
So if your barcode is missing or, it's formatted incorrectly,
the scanner just beeps an error. You are making the search engine work too hard to understand your content. And if the algorithm is confused, it simply moves on and doesn't index you properly. By having an AI automate the metadata, you ensure that the technical spine of your book is perfectly formatted for the scanner every single time.
that is a massive relief for anyone who isn't a web developer.
Absolutely.
The article actually breaks down a simple workflow to show how all of this comes together in practice, and I want us to walk through it because it really proves how much friction has been removed here. Step 1 is simply choosing a recent shoot or session type. You just have to decide what you want to feature.
Right. You start with the assets you already have sitting on your hard drive.
Then, step 2, you ask the AI for an SEO-focused topic based on that shoot. The example they give is best places to shoot sunset portraits in Raleigh. The AI checks the search intent and gives you the green light. Then what happens in step 3?
Step 3 is where the AI takes over the heavy lifting. It generates the optimized outline in the draft, it builds the headings, structures the paragraphs, and embeds those technical metadata barcodes we just talked about.
Which frees you up for step 4. Expanding the draft with your personal insights and your actual images from that Raleigh shoot. You inject your human experience.
And this is where you actually enjoy the process.
Yeah.
You get to talk about your art, your client, and the location, rather than stressing about whether you use the word Raleigh enough times.
That's the fun part. Then step 5 is publishing and sharing it across your social platforms to drive initial traffic. And finally, step 6 is tracking the results and repeating the process. It's a closed-loop system.
You will connect this to the bigger picture. The most important word in that workflow is repeat.
Back to consistency.
Yes. The source emphasizes the compounding payoff. It states that even if you only use this 6-step system to write 1 or 2 posts a month, the results compound significantly. You are consistently adding highly optimized, perfectly cataloged books to the digital library.
Building that net.
Exactly. Those posts will capture long-tail, location-specific queries month after month, literally working for you while you are out shooting or sleeping.
So, what does this all mean? When you look at this entire deep dive, from understanding how search engines measure human trust, to realizing that consistency is the only way to win, to seeing how a niche AI handles the technical barcodes and structural drafting, it really sounds like the technical barrier to entry for local SEO has completely vanished.
It really has.
The old excuse of, I don't know how to code or I don't understand the algorithm is just gone.
It completely levels the playing field. The source leaves us with a very powerful final thought, which is that SEO success isn't built overnight, but it is built with strategy and consistency.
Right.
By removing the technical anxiety and solving the blank page syndrome, tools like this transform blogging from a dreaded heavy chore into a reliable automated growth engine.
That's incredible.
The local business owners who consistently show up in search results are ultimately the ones getting booked. It's no longer about who is the biggest SEO wizard. It's about who consistently leverages the right tools to share their actual expertise.
It's a massive paradigm shift. Let's quickly summarize the journey we've taken you on today. We started by looking at the death of keyword stuffing and the rise of EEB, exploring how algorithms measure human behavior to determine trustworthiness.
We covered a lot.
We did. We then unpacked the massive human bottleneck of time, realizing that while creatives know they need to build a net of indexed pages, finding the hours is nearly impossible. And finally, we explored how highly specialized AI tools like PhotoBiz AI are stepping in to bridge that gap. They are scanning for high-intent topics, building the algorithmic structure, and perfectly formatting the metadata barcodes, allowing you to reclaim your time and focus purely on adding your unique human perspective to the work.
This raises an important question, something I think is really worth mulling over long after we finish this discussion.
Oh, what's that?
If specialized AI tools have completely democratized the technical side of SEO, meaning every single local business can now effortlessly achieve perfect structural optimization, flawless metadata, and algorithmic approval. How will that impact the actual business models of these service providers?
Interesting.
Yeah, if visibility is no longer a technical hurdle, will local markets become so fiercely visible and competitive that service providers have to completely rethink their pricing strategies or their offerings just to stand out?
That is a wildly fascinating angle, because if everyone can perfectly pave those shifting digital roads leading to their storefront, the battle for the customer might move entirely from the digital realm back into how you physically structure your offers and your actual price.
Exactly. The human element becomes even more critical.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this demystified the evolving world of local search for you. Keep exploring your own fields, keep questioning how the tools around you are changing, and keep looking for those aha moments that completely transform the way you work. Until next time.
The Focus Shift podcast is presented by PhotoBiz, the best website solution for photographers. Whether you're launching your site or scaling your online business, PhotoBiz has your back. To get started for free, visit photobiz.com today.